When the crown prince was attacked, I risked my life to save him. His Majesty asked what reward I desired. My ears burned red as I gazed upon the crown prince, graceful as jade bamboo in the wind. Just as I was about to request a royal marriage decree, I suddenly heard my maid's thoughts behind me. Please, please, please don't ask for marriage, my dear lady. The crown prince's beloved is Miss Sophia. That wretched prince can't bear to lose the general's support, yet can't stomach making his true love a mere concubine. Tevati after his coronation, his first act will be to eliminate the entire Ashford family, all 742 souls, down to the newborn puppies in the kennels. My blood turned to ice. When His Majesty inquired again about my desired reward, I hastily replied, "I would like a hammer, Your Majesty." The Emperor stared. The Crown Prince stared. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Share your advice below and subscribe to see how my story continues. And then, I made a decision that changed everything. At the Grand Palace banquet, 2 assassins disguised as dancers struck without warning. One shouted "Death to the tyrant," while the other aimed his blade directly at Crown Prince Adrian. The Imperial Guards formed a protective circle around His Majesty, but in the sudden chaos, the Crown Prince stood exposed and vulnerable. Seeing mortal danger descend upon him, I seized a wine cup from the table and hurled it at the assassin. As the man stumbled, I threw myself between him and the prince. The royal guards arrived just in time to subdue the attackers. His Majesty's delight was evident as he proclaimed, "Lady Ashford, truly you are your father's daughter. The Crown Prince owes his life to your courage. The consequences of his loss would have been unthinkable." "Your Majesty is too kind. It was merely the prince's good fortune and heaven's protection," I replied, though my father beside me could barely contain his pride, his smile threatening to reach his ears. The Emperor gazed upon me with benevolent eyes. "Lady Ashford, speak freely. What reward do you desire? Whatever you ask, I shall grant." Everyone present knew of my obvious infatuation with Prince Adrian. After all, who in the capital hadn't heard of my hopeless devotion to His Highness? Already courtiers were exchanging meaningful glances between myself and the Crown Prince. Some whispered predictions that I would leverage this debt to secure a marriage decree. I too looked toward the prince, taking in his elegant dragon-patterned robes of amber silk, his eyes like polished obsidian, his lips curved in perpetual spring. Every gesture spoke of noble refinement, beautiful beyond earthly comparison. Why shouldn't I claim such a reward? We had been childhood companions, raised together, and my heart had belonged to him for as long as I could remember. The thought of spending every day at his side made my face burn like fire and my heart race, like a startled deer. Just as I opened my mouth to request the marriage decree, Ruby's frantic thoughts pierced my mind. The Crown Prince's true love is Miss Sophia. That calculating prince won't sacrifice the general's military support, but neither will he make his beloved a mere secondary wife. The shock hit me like lightning. I forced myself to remain calm, turning slightly toward Ruby. Her lips remained still, her posture properly submissive. When I realized others couldn't hear her thoughts, relief flooded through me, only to be replaced by fresh horror as her mental voice continued. After his coronation, he'll massacre the entire Ashford clan, 742 people, even the nursing puppies. Massacre the Ashford clan. The words exploded in my mind like thunder. I steadied myself and observed the Crown Prince more carefully. His gaze kept drifting toward Miss Sophia's direction, even from a distance. I could see the young woman's tears flowing like scattered pearls, dressed in pristine white silk. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears, her slender frame trembling as if she might collapse at any moment. Yet she bit her lip determinedly, forcing her spine to remain straight. That combination of fragility and stubborn strength, like a willow refusing to bend in the storm, evoked both pity and admiration. The crown prince watched her with an expression I had never seen before, his usually impassive features now turbulent with deep compassion, heavy self-reproach, and an indescribable anguish. His lips moved slightly, though no words emerged. He simply gazed at her as if trying to engrave her delicate yet resilient figure into his very soul. The truth struck me like a physical blow. They truly were heart to heart, just as Ruby had said. Could it be that Ruby spoke the truth? Would Prince Adrian truly destroy my family upon taking the throne? Perhaps my stare was too intense, for the prince turned toward me. Meeting his gaze, I saw him standing there with cool detachment, as if he were merely an observer to these events. I had always attributed his manner to natural reserve, but now, looking closely into those dark eyes, I saw complete emotional emptiness, and perhaps even traces of disgust. His lack of affection was painfully obvious. How blind I had been, lost in my own burning passion, nearly condemning my entire family and a litter of innocent puppies. When His Majesty repeated his question about my desired reward, with Father clearing his throat meaningfully beside me, I quickly responded, "Your humble servant desires a hammer." The stunned silence that followed was broken only by Father's violent coughing fit. I feared he might choke himself unconscious. Seeing the incredulous faces around me, I elaborated, "I have heard that the Tibetan kingdom presented a 1,000-pound hammer as tribute. Your humble servant has long admired such a weapon and humbly requests your Majesty's gracious gift." I had been blessed with extraordinary strength since childhood, drawing 7 stone bows at age 3, lifting the stone lions at our gate overhead at 5, and defeating 20 veteran officers at tug-of-war by age 7. While Father delighted in my unusual abilities, claiming I had inherited his martial spirit, Mother constantly worried that such strength would harm my reputation and marriage prospects. She strictly forbade any public displays of my power. As a child, lacking proper control, I had once accidentally torn the crown prince's robes, leaving him indecently exposed. He often commented that my strength was mannish and crude, unlike the gentle, willowy nature befitting a proper lady. Now I understood. The crown prince had never truly cared for me. It had all been my own foolish infatuation. The bitter taste of realization filled my mouth, but at least I had awakened before making an irreversible mistake. Following the principle of never refusing a good opportunity, since I couldn't request marriage, a hammer would serve admirably. Besides, I genuinely had coveted that 1,000-pound weapon for some time. His Majesty's eyes moved thoughtfully between myself and the crown prince before he decreed that the hammer, along with 10,000 taels of gold, would be mine. Sitting in our carriage afterward, cradling the magnificent hammer, the entire experience felt dreamlike. Ruby seemed much happier than when we had entered the palace. La 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 la, no family extinction today. Asterisk toe and toe night. I'll eat an extra bowl of rice. No, make it 2 big bowls. Asterisk her cheerful mental humming lifted even my own spirits somewhat. At least my family would be safe. That mattered more than anything. Little Ember, Father said with confusion, I thought you would surely request marriage to the crown prince. I never expected you to say nothing of it. Haven't you always disapproved of my feelings for his highness? I countered. Father hesitated, studying my expression before speaking carefully. Your old father may be rough around the edges, but I can see your heart belongs to the prince. However, publicly speaking, I hold too much military power. His Majesty would never approve of a future crown princess from such an influential family. I care nothing for military command. If you truly became crown princess, I would return the tiger seal and retire from service immediately. But privately, daughter, that prince's heart isn't yours. You've always been pure and trusting. Without the Crown Prince's love and protection, life in the Eastern Palace would be torment. Your mother and I couldn't bear to see you trapped in such circumstances. Though he may be Crown Prince, speaking treasonously, he is not worthy of my precious daughter. You deserve the finest man in the world, one who treasures you like a pearl. Only then would we willingly give you in marriage. Otherwise, you can remain our unmarried daughter forever. We have wealth enough to support you. Father's words moved me to tears, washing away the last traces of romantic feeling for the Crown Prince. My parents treasured me as priceless, while my heart's desire saw me as a disaster. How grateful I was that I hadn't requested that marriage decree or put our family in mortal danger. Rest assured, Father, I have no further attachment to His Highness. My hand unconsciously traced the hammer's intricate patterns. Testing its weight, I grinned. What a magnificent weapon. Father, shall we spar when we get home? Father stared at my tear-stained face, now bright with enthusiasm, and laughed. Spare these old bones, daughter. I want a few more years with your mother. Drop me at the military camp ahead. Go find your brother instead. Excellent. I agreed cheerfully. Father shook his head, tapping my forehead. Heartless little fool. Upon reaching the camp, I found everyone rushing frantically toward the rear mountain. I stopped one soldier. What is happened? The 9th Prince and the General encountered assassins in the back hills. We're going to assist them. He ran off before I could ask more. If anything happened to the 9th Prince in my brother's territory, Edgar would face exile at minimum, execution at worst. I quickly instructed Ruby, wait here. I am going to help my brother. Before Ruby could protest, I grabbed my hammer and sprinted toward the mountain. Father had taught me tracking arts, reading signs in crushed grass and disturbed earth. Soon I discovered an anomalous trail. Recently trampled vegetation with several drops of fresh blood. Summoning was injured, their gait unsteady and light. 4 or 5 pursuers followed behind, their excellent martial arts leaving only minimal traces when they borrowed momentum for movement. I pressed forward urgently with my hammer. Finally, several hundred yards ahead, I spotted them, 4 masked figures surrounding someone on the ground. Stop, I bellowed. One assassin turned toward me. I stomped the earth, using the recoil to launch myself upward. My hammer swept around with the rumbling force of rolling thunder. The assassin tried to dodge, assuming the weapon's weight would slow my attack. Unfortunately for him, in my hands the massive hammer moved as lightly as a dagger. I adjusted my angle instantly, bringing the hammer around to catch him. Unable to evade, he took the full impact and dropped without even a grunt. Against absolute power, all technique becomes meaningless. The remaining 3 fled using their movement arts. I approached the figure on the ground and helped him sit up. Fortunately, he was only wounded in the leg. Nothing vital damaged. As he raised his thick, dark lashes, I saw that blood loss had paled his complexion, which somehow enhanced rather than diminished his beauty, adding a fragile, pitiful quality that surpassed even the Crown Prince's looks. I swallowed hard before asking, Your Highness, are you unharmed? The 9th Prince smiled slightly. I am fine. Thank you for saving me, Miss Ashford. You know who I am? How strange. I had no memory of meeting the 9th Prince. I've seen Miss Ashford several times at court, though your eyes were always on the Crown Prince. The last part was spoken so quietly, I couldn't quite catch it. What did you say? A complex expression flickered across his features. Nothing. Since he clearly didn't wish to elaborate, I didn't press. I knelt before him, patting my back. Your Highness, this place isn't safe. Climb on, I'll carry you back. His expression shifted strangely, his ears turning pink. Unnecessary, I can walk myself. What, was he looking down on someone? Did he think I couldn't carry him? Today I would show him the might of the realm's foremost female warrior. I stepped forward, grasping his wrist. As he swayed backward, I smoothly caught him around the waist and lifted him up. Onsen, I had him in my arms. I bounced him a few times experimentally. Ha, I could easily carry 2 of him. His eyes widened in disbelief, his face flushing as he stammered. Miss Ashford, please put me down. This isn't proper. How ridiculously prudish. Father's decades of military service had taught him life's fragility. Comrades who shared meals might die in battle the next day. He had always taught us to cherish life above all else. I held him tighter. Your Highness, life supersedes propriety. What good are social niceties if you are dead? Those assassins may have accomplices. Every moment we linger increases our danger. The 9th Prince's body went rigid, his chest growing increasingly warm. His gaze flickered toward me, his voice dropping to barely a whisper. Then, I am grateful for your assistance. Why was he acting like a shy maiden? Hold on tight, I instructed. His ears turned red as spilled wine. After a moment's hesitation, he circled his arms around my neck. I immediately picked up speed toward the camp. In my urgency to return, I didn't notice him discreetly waving off the hidden guards who had been following us. A quarter hour later, I encountered Ruby waiting anxiously outside the camp. Seeing blood on my clothing, she feared I was injured and ran toward me with tears in her voice. Miss, are you hurt? Then she glared disapprovingly at the 9th Prince in my arms. This pretty boy is shameless. The miss is injured but still has to carry him around. The 9th Prince seemed to sense Ruby's hostile stare. He whispered in my ear, Miss Ashford, please put me down. I can walk now. His proximity brought the scent of cold pine, causing my heart to flutter strangely. I nodded hastily but didn't release him. We're almost there. Might as well take you straight to the medical tent. I turned to Ruby. This isn't my blood. His Highness is injured. Quickly fetch the camp physician. Ruby responded while jogging away. Right away, miss. Humph. Dog Prince. Tefan taking out frustration on me. Tefan T. If this were modern times, you feudal remnant would be cancelled. Kefin, you were the loudest one criticizing miss before. Tefan miss. Good horses don't eat grass they've passed. Don't be deceived by rotten weeds. Tuvid compared to him, the 9th Prince is much more adorable. Touche oh, right. I should have 15 fetch the 9th Prince. Miss Ashford, you and your servant have quite a close relationship. The 9th Prince observed. Ruby grew up with me. I consider her like a younger sister. After a pause I added, if she has offended your Highness in any way, please don't blame her. She was only worried about me. I harbor no ill will toward her. I looked up at the prince in my arms. Though slender, he was actually slightly taller than me. His skin was like congealed cream, his features delicately beautiful. He appeared to have never done a day's hard work. But why did Ruby call him a ruthless killer? The 9th Prince seemed to sense my scrutiny and turned to meet my gaze. When our eyes met, his face reddened like a startled large white rabbit. What is wrong? He asked softly. My breath caught as I smiled at him. Nothing at all. Even if he had killed people, they surely deserved it. After all, even rabbits bite when cornered. Others in the camp had already fired signal flares to notify my brother of the 9th Prince's safe return. When Edgar arrived, the elderly camp physician was bandaging the prince's wounds. My brother entered and immediately dropped to one knee, clasping his hands. Your humble servant failed in his duty to protect your Highness. I beg your forgiveness. The rest of us knelt alongside him. The 9th Prince raised his right hand gracefully, his voice warm and clear. Please, all of you rise. There is no need for such formality. The attack was sudden. General Ashford bears no blame. Moreover, the general's loyalty and courage are matched by his sister's heroism. I am deeply grateful for Miss Ashford's rescue today. I shall inform His Majesty and request appropriate honors." Edgar replied humbly, "Your Highness is too generous. Protecting our lord is merely our duty." The camp physician completed his work and reported, "Your Highness, the thigh wound is not serious, but significant blood loss requires several days of rest. The bruising on your Highness's wrist will fade within 3 days with this medicinal salve." "Thank you for your care," the prince replied. The 9th prince smiled slightly, glancing at me. I touched my nose guiltily and looked away. How was this man's skin more delicate than a sheltered lady's? The slightest touch left marks. After seeing the 9th prince off, my brother erupted in fury, berating my recklessness and impulsiveness. He demanded to know how he could face our parents if something had happened to me. Seeing my distracted expression, he threatened to confiscate the 1,000-pound hammer. What? That got my immediate attention. I launched into the most heartfelt self-criticism of my life, promising repeatedly never to act so rashly again. Only then did he grudgingly relent. By the time we returned home, the imperial rewards had already been delivered. Additionally, Princess Dawn had sent an invitation to next month's flower viewing banquet. Our family of 4 huddled together in a circle, heads touching, shoulders pressed close. I sighed dramatically. "Family, I don't want to attend the princess's flower banquet. All those noble ladies' poetry competitions, painting exhibitions, flower arranging, and tea ceremonies. I can't do any of it." "How boring," Edgar raised an eyebrow teasingly. "Still carrying a torch for the crown prince. I am not." "Good girl, forget about that prince," Mother said. "Your father's right. You should attend the banquet. There will be plenty of outstanding young men from good families to choose from. I think the Duke's youngest son would be perfect. Handsome appearance and excellent literary talents. If you are not interested in scholars, I could find you a young general instead," Father added enthusiastically. "I agree. The military camp has many fine young men. I'll keep an eye out for suitable candidates," Edgar chimed in. The 3 of them chattered away while I couldn't get a word in edgewise. My head buzzed from their excited planning. Finally, I threw up my hands in surrender. "Fine, fine, fine. I'll go, I'll attend." "All right," Edgar proved untrustworthy, dramatically exaggerating the danger of the 9th prince's assassination attempt, and my reckless intervention. This terrified our parents into confining me to the estate for a full month. Curse him. In revenge, I snuck out that night and shaved the manes off all his war horses. Ha! Let him ride those bald horses to camp. The 9th prince, hearing of my confinement, began sending various amusing gifts daily. Large items included Western region weapons, rare martial arts manuals. Small ones ranged from imperial pastries to street vendors' woven grasshoppers. Everything imaginable filled my days with anticipation for his next surprise. Poor Ruby had to handle all the deliveries. Her little face scrunched in constant disapproval. She clearly wanted to throw all the 9th prince's gifts away, convinced he harbored ill intentions. But I disagreed. The 9th prince had grown up in the palace without his mother's protection from an early age. A child with such a pure heart couldn't have survived to adulthood in that environment. On the morning of the flower banquet, Ruby dragged me from bed before dawn to dress me in a crimson silk gown, embroidered with crabapple blossoms, and arrange my hair in an elaborate style adorned with a white orchid jade hairpin. The effect was more elegant than my usual appearance. Ruby stared in amazement. "Miss, you are absolutely beautiful. If you ask me, the capital's greatest beauty isn't Sophia at all. It should be our Miss. My dear lady is so gorgeous. A stunning heroic beauty who could definitely debut professionally. Thank goodness we didn't waste her on that dog prince." Since gaining the ability to hear Ruby's thoughts, I was constantly entertained by her complaints about the crown prince and her strange modern expressions, fearing others might consider Ruby possessed by demons. I never mentioned this ability to anyone. I tapped her forehead playfully. Your mouth is sweeter than honey. Just then Mother entered, her face lighting up at my appearance, finally looking like a proper young lady. I must say, Ruby isn't wrong. My daughter is indeed one of the capital's most beautiful girls. Even heavenly fairies can't compare to my daughter's beauty. Mother, even with my usual thick skin, I couldn't withstand such praise. At Princess Dawn's rear garden, I brought Ruby to explore the quieter areas, avoiding the crowds. Princess Dawn and I had always been at odds, both of us preferring martial arts to poetry and literature. My competitive nature meant I never offered her the fawning flattery others did. In my eyes, princess or not, if she wanted to claim first place in the practice yards, she had to earn it through skill. In horseback riding, polo, archery, and all the martial arts, I consistently outperformed Princess Dawn. Thus, we faced each other like needles meeting wheat, neither yielding an inch. As now, when Princess Dawn approached with Sophia and a group of noble ladies, the princess strutted forward like a proud peacock. Truly a case of enemies meeting on a narrow path. I curtsied properly. Your humble servant, Ember Ashford, greets your highness. May you enjoy golden peace. After completing the courtesy, I stood with lowered head and bowed posture. Princess Dawn never missed an opportunity to humiliate me. Some people are like toads lusting after swan meat, constantly hovering around the crown prince, thinking proximity might win his favor. How could they know that Crown Prince Adrian's heart belongs only to dear Sophia? No, I should now say Crown Princess Sophia. If you ask me, Crown Prince Adrian and dear Sophia are truly a match made in heaven, talent and beauty perfectly paired. Sophia protested bashfully. Your Highness, please don't tease me so. You are making me blush. I am not teasing. Crown Prince Adrian came to Mother's palace while I was visiting. He personally requested Mother to seek the marriage decree. Heaven protect us. Please don't let my lady's romantic brain activate. Asterisk fuddy away, away. Keep that dog prince away from my miss. Asterisk I felt all eyes turn toward me, their gazes mixed with mockery and ill-intentioned laughter. Perhaps because I didn't respond, Princess Dawn asked pointedly. Ember Ashford, what do you think of Crown Prince Adrian and dear Sophia's engagement? Sophia covered her mouth, laughing lightly, a flash of triumph in her eyes. I replied calmly, congratulating Sophia. A perfect match. Congratulations, Miss Sophia. Princess Dawn seemed momentarily stunned, perhaps expecting me to rage or flee in heartbreak. My unexpectedly calm reaction apparently bored her, and she led the group away. Passing beside me, Princess Dawn muttered under her breath. Ember Ashford has become so tediously dull. After Princess Dawn's entourage departed in grand fashion, I clapped my hands together and rubbed them greedily, heading toward the 10,000 carp pond. Ruby, come. Your miss will take you to catch some big fat carp. Those carp have been fed so well by Princess Dawn, they must be absolutely delicious. I was practically drooling. Ruby stared at me slack-jawed FUD. Here I was worried. Miss would be devastated by the scolding, but instead her appetite is awakening. Asterisk miss, this isn't right. I hear those koi are the princess's precious treasures. Himp, that is exactly why I want to eat her precious treasures. Payback for every word that stabbed my heart earlier. At the 10,000 carp pond, colorful koi swam energetically, their plump bodies glistening. I pointed to the fattest red koi. This one roasted, all crispy and oil-drizzled, absolutely delicious. That one salt and pepper fried until perfectly crunchy. How dare you? Who are you to covet the princess's precious koi? Just as I was happily planning the menu, a girl in green gauze appeared from nowhere, pointing an accusing finger at me with righteous indignation. Small person, big voice indeed. I cleaned out my ears and looked at her. And who might you be? Which eye saw me touch the princess's koi? I heard you with my own ears planning to roast and fry them. Just wait until I tell the princess. I snorted. Go ahead. I strode away, but the girl pursued me, desperately trying to block my path. The pond stone walkway was uneven, and she stumbled toward me, unable to keep her footing. I quickly stepped back to avoid her. Don't touch me. Unable to stop her momentum, she tumbled straight toward the pond. Seeing her about to become fish food, I lunged forward and caught her in time. I said, if you want to fish, wait until I am gone. The girl ground her teeth in fury, then instantly changed expressions, collapsing to the ground in a performance of shock and distress. I stared. Was her ancestry from the theater districts? Woo woo woo, Your Highness. Please seek justice for your humble servant. I encountered Miss Ashford at the 10,000 carp pond. She wanted to eat Your Highness's koi, and when I kindly advised her that these fish were Your Highness's beloved pets. Not only did she curse at me, she tried to push me into the pond. If Your Highness and the other ladies hadn't arrived just then, I fear I would have. Princess Dawn frowned deeply, her almond eyes widening at the mention of eating her koi. Ember Ashford, I knew that pure and gentle act was all pretense. What was this? The princess's angry tone seemed to carry a hint of excitement. The next moment, Sophia threw herself to the ground dramatically. Oh my, Your Highness. This is my half-sister Penelope. Perhaps Miss Ashford, suddenly hearing of my engagement to the crown prince, felt such jealousy that she acted irrationally. Please don't blame her too harshly. Sophia's words appeared to defend me while actually implying I had pushed Penelope into the water. But really, Miss Ashford, even if you resent me, you shouldn't take it out on my poor sister. If anything happened to sister, how could I face my aunt? Before I could respond, a voice cut through the accusations. I can testify for Miss Ashford. I clearly saw Miss Penelope fall into the pond herself. Miss Ashford risked herself to save her, only to be repaid with false accusations. The 9th prince emerged from behind an artificial mountain, his jade-like countenance and upright bearing commanding immediate attention. How long had he been hiding there? Clearly, Penelope realized her predicament, her arms trembling slightly. Meeting Sophia's cold stare, Penelope stubbornly repeated, Ember Ashford pushed me. Princess Dawn's phoenix eyes swept between us all. Are you suggesting my 9th brother is lying? She paused meaningfully. Besides, Ember Ashford has always been forthright. If she had done it, she would certainly admit it. Ruby's eyes sparkled as she looked at the princess. Indeed, who understands Miss best but her sworn enemy the princess? Asterisk asterisk, I am waving flags for the princess. Giving her my likes, asterisk I hadn't expected Princess Dawn to believe me. Penelope looked defeated, taking a desperate approach. If you didn't push me, why did you save me? Good point, I thought. I walked directly to her and gave her a firm push. Off you go. Penelope flew into the pond like a kite with a broken string. This time I actually pushed you. Consider the rescue payment for the favor. The 9th prince laughed softly, approval gleaming in his eyes. Help, glub glub, save me, glub glub. Finally, Princess Dawn summoned a swimming-capable nursemaid to fish Penelope out. She added leisurely, Miss Sophia, take your sister home to rest her brain. She can't even tell when someone has or hasn't pushed her. Sophia bit her lower lip, her face flushed with humiliation as she agreed and hastily departed with Penelope. I turned to smile at the princess. Thank you, Your Highness, for speaking justly on my behalf. Princess Dawn sniffed haughtily. Don't think I like you. I simply cannot tolerate deception. With that, She led her group away in grand fashion once more. Inexplicably, only the ninth prince and I remained. Where had Ruby disappeared to? The ninth prince smiled at me first. I hope Ruby hasn't been too inconvenienced lately, delivering my gifts. I had my people take her to sample pastries at the fragrant garden. I stepped forward eagerly, beaming. Don't spoil that greedy girl too much. I also thank your highness for testifying on my behalf earlier. He touched my hair gently, sighing softly. You saved my life. Naturally, I must protect you. His eyes were extraordinarily bright and deep, like a bottomless cold pool or a whirlpool hiding dangerous currents. One glance was enough to trap someone forever. My brain short-circuited as I half-jokingly said, "Why don't you repay me with your body then?" The ninth prince gazed at me with sparkling eyes, tiny stars seeming to dance in their depths. Very well. I froze, hastily laughing it off. I was only joking, Your Highness. Please don't take it seriously. The ninth prince's smile faded as he leaned close to my ear, his breath like orchids, his tone deadly serious. What if I am taking it seriously? I stood stunned, unsure how to respond. The atmosphere grew awkward. After a long moment, the ninth prince's eyes reddened as he gave a mocking smile. His voice was hoarse beyond recognition when he spoke. I was presumptuous, Miss Ashford. I am merely a prince born of a concubine, powerless and without influence. My mother died young, and my maternal family cannot compare to the crown princes. In talent, appearance, I am inferior to Crown Prince Adrian in every way. It is only natural that Miss Ashford would look down on me. As soon as he finished speaking, tears began falling like broken pearls. This. I had never seen a man cry before, and immediately panicked. Watching him desperately wipe his eyes, my heart twisted painfully. In my confusion, I grasped both his hands. No. You are much more handsome than the crown prince. You are kind-hearted and have a strong sense of justice. When those women accused me falsely, you spoke up for me. You have such keen insight. Unlike others who see me as strange, you even sent me so many wonderful gifts. I treasure every single one. You are practically not that I am calling you a parasite. Anyway, in my eyes, you are the finest person in the world. The ninth prince looked down at my hands, his lips curving slightly. Am I truly as wonderful as you say? Of course, I nodded emphatically. The ninth prince smiled at me. Then I shall ask Father Emperor to arrange our marriage. I blinked in confusion. How had he circled back to this topic? Seeing my silence, sadness crept into his eyes again. Those beautiful phoenix eyes began filling with tears once more. Why was this man such a crybaby? Before his tears could fall, I quickly agreed. Yes, marriage it is. This arrangement could work well. If I married the ninth prince, should Crown Prince Adrian ascend the throne and seek to destroy the Ashford family, he would have to consider the consequences. The ninth prince started in surprise, his deep eyes gradually brightening with joy, a faint blush coloring his cheeks as he stammered. I'll enter the palace immediately to request Father Emperor's marriage decree. With that, he practically skipped away in delight. But he returned quickly, sweeping me into his arms, his voice barely containing his joy. Ember, wait for me. My ears burned red as I responded in a barely audible whisper, fighting to maintain my composure. From the corner of my eye, I noticed Ruby had returned somehow. She had been eating pastries, but now her mouth hung open and the treat tumbled to the ground. Taking a deep breath, she began pummeling the man beside her with her fists. So you deliberately lured me away to help your master trick my miss into marriage. Woo, I'll never eat your pastries again. We just got rid of the dog prince. Now here comes this scheming ninth prince. Asterisk Thubbin, why do pigs keep trying to trample my precious cabbage? Asterisk Thubbin, I even allowed to live anymore. Woo woo woo. Asterisk the man panicked, protesting softly. I didn't deceive you. He bowed formally to me. Princess, this humble servant is the 9th Prince's hidden guard, ranked 15th. Please call me 15. By my master's command, I am to protect the princess from today forward. Whatever you require, simply command me. Hearing the title princess, I remembered the 9th Prince's tearful expression and felt my temples throb. I pressed my forehead and gestured for him to rise. Stand up, 15. I paused, correcting him. Also, just call me Miss, as Ruby does. The marriage decree hadn't even been issued yet, and he was already changing forms of address. Yes, Miss. Were you the one delivering the 9th Prince's gifts to me? Indeed, it was this servant. You may withdraw. This servant obeys your command. 15 then concealed himself in the shadows. That night, thunder and lightning raged outside. Ruby kept glancing toward the window. I teased her. What are you looking at? Worried about 15. Who is worried about him? Ruby stuck out her neck defiantly. That lying scoundrel deserves to be struck by lightning. As if on cue, several thunderclaps crashed overhead. Ruby's face went white with terror as she pressed her palms together. Heavenly grandfather and grandmother, I was just joking. She spat on the ground repeatedly. Pew, bad luck doesn't work. Good luck does. Her contradictory behavior amused me greatly. I stopped teasing her. Go quickly. Let 15 rest in the side room. Find him clean clothes and prepare some ginger soup in the kitchen to ward off the cold. If he refuses, tell him it is my direct order. I'll go right now. Ruby couldn't meet my eyes and scurried away like a wisp of smoke. I shook my head with a smile. Sharp tongue, soft heart. Another girl growing up too fast. Wind and rain lashed against the windows. I rose to close them when suddenly a hand gripped the windowsill. I immediately grabbed the person's hand and pulled them inside. Ember, it is me. Your Highness, how did you get here? Candlelight played across his profile, seeming to gild him with gold. He possessed an otherworldly soul-stirring charm. Ember, I've already petitioned Father Emperor for our marriage. The decree will arrive at the General's mansion tomorrow. I wanted to tell you this good news immediately. His eyes sparkled like starlight. Full of adoration and deep affection, my mood lifted in response. So this was what it felt like to be treasured by someone. But you didn't need to come tonight in this weather. You don't want to see me. The 9th Prince gazed at me mournfully, looking as if tears might fall at any moment. I quickly waved my hands in denial. No, that is not it. This man was definitely doing this deliberately. I chose my words carefully. I meant that with tonight's storm and rain, and you still recovering from your injuries. What if you catch cold again? What would we do then? The 9th Prince's lips curved into a smile. Is Ember worried about me? I am so happy. He drew a plum blossom hairpin from his robes. This was Mother's favorite hairpin. I want to give it to you. He gently inserted the pin into my hair. Ember, you are truly beautiful. Legend held that the late noble consort Lily had been the palace's greatest beauty, maintaining the emperor's exclusive favor despite her humble origins. She rose to the rank of noble consort through her looks alone. Sadly, her beauty was short-lived. Complications during the 9th Prince's birth left her weakened, and she passed away within a few years. I had grown up surrounded by my parents' love, while the 9th Prince had raised himself alone in the palace. This comparison filled me with pity for him. Your Highness, from now on my family is your family too. The 9th Prince's smile deepened, his Adam's apple bobbing as his voice grew husky. Thank you, Ember. In my heart, you are also the most wonderful person in the world. My name is Sebastian, courtesy name Adrian. Ember, would you call me Adrian from now on? All right, you're high. Adrian. Ninth Prince held me tighter, as if trying to merge me into his very being. 3 days later, the palace issued 2 marriage decrees, one for Crown Prince Adrian and Sophia, another for myself and the Ninth Prince. His Majesty also specifically commanded that Sophia and I participate in the autumn hunt 3 days hence. My parents and brother received the marriage decree with outward calm. Only after the court eunuch departed did father and mother position themselves like judges in the great hall's high-backed chairs. With Edgar taking the eastern seat, what was this? A 3-person tribunal treating me as the defendant. The sudden marriage decree had caught everyone off guard, including myself. Their momentary confusion was understandable. I straightened my spine, the Ninth Prince and I. Father counted on his fingers. Ever since you saved the Ninth Prince, he has been sending you interesting gifts daily to make you happy. I knew he was interested in you. Never expected him to be so decisive, requesting the marriage decree so quickly. Much better than that other one. What did he mean? Edgar lowered his voice. For this matter, the Ninth Prince secretly asked me about Ember's preferences. Ruby hesitated briefly. At Princess Dawn's flower banquet, when Miss Penelope falsely accused Miss of pushing her into the water, it was the Ninth Prince who testified for Miss. The Ninth Prince never refers to himself as this prince in front of Miss. He always says I. Ruby, just yesterday you were mentally cursing him constantly, and now you've forgotten. Fallen for 15's pretty boy tactics, really. Her eyes sparkling with delight. Ember, the Ninth Prince's treatment of you is truly beyond words. Ruby, tell me more details. I sighed. A family of chatterboxes. There was no one like them. The autumn hunt blessed us with perfect weather. Sunlight filtered through forest branches, creating dappled shadows on carpets of fallen leaves that invited relaxation. The royal hunting preserve's animals were all plump and glossy coated, their thick pelts almost dazzling in the autumn sun. The only problem was that joy often leads to sorrow. The Ninth Prince and I had gotten lost. I had bagged several fat rabbits and wanted to pursue the preserve's elk for the day's prize. Somehow we found ourselves at the hunting ground's edge, and when I looked up, we were completely lost. I planned to use tracking skills to retrace our steps, but then snow began falling. Heavy snow quickly blanketed everything in white, erasing all trace of our passage. We finally found a cave large enough for shelter, but its entrance was blocked by a massive boulder. The Ninth Prince said gently, "Ember, step aside. Let me move this boulder." Perhaps I hadn't been obvious enough about my capabilities in daily life, causing him to underestimate my strength. I took his cool hand, though my heart felt even colder. Still, the noble Ninth Prince was a man, after all. Directly telling him he couldn't budge the boulder until next year might damage his self-esteem. I held his hands earnestly. "Adrian, there is no need for you to do such trivial work. It is autumn now, and with today's heavy snow, your recent injuries haven't fully healed. Getting chilled again would be terrible. Ember, my health is fine. How could I let a lady do such rough work?" I placed my finger on the Ninth Prince's lips. "Shh. They say when men and women work together, the task becomes easy. I'll move the boulder, you gather some branches, and we'll roast rabbit afterward. Be good, it is settled." Life wasn't easy, but Ember could act. I had learned to be strategic too. "I'll listen to you and gather branches immediately." I nodded approvingly. What a good boy. Watching the Ninth Prince wade through snow with uneven steps, cheerfully heading toward the forest to collect branches like a ray of warm sunshine, instantly melted my heart. My heart felt like it was dissolving into warm water. I turned to examine the boulder, feeling for leverage points. Sinking my energy to my core, I shouted, "Rise!" The boulder slowly shifted aside, revealing the dark cave entrance. The ninth prince returned with an armload of branches, his voice full of admiration. Ember is amazing, of course. We arranged a space inside the cave, piled the branches for a fire, and skewered the rabbit over the flames. The royal preserve's rabbits were truly plump. The rabbit roasted with sizzling oil dripping into the fire with popping sounds. The aromatic scent of golden, fragrant meat filled the air. My stomach rumbled embarrassingly. How mortifying. The ninth prince immediately tore off a rabbit leg. Ember, eat first. I'll handle the roasting. I swallowed hard, attempting false modesty. You eat first. The ninth prince paused, probably equally hungry, and accepted the leg. I wanted to slap myself. Why pretend? I turned toward another rabbit leg. No problem. The rabbit had 3 legs left. 2 legs each wasn't bad. Just as I reached for another leg, the ninth prince suddenly said, "Careful, it is hot. Let me help." He produced a small, exquisite dagger from his robes and spread a handkerchief on a stone, then patiently used the blade to slice meat from the leg. The firelight illuminated his extraordinarily handsome features like an immortal radiating soft light. Sitting quietly by the fire, the dancing flames gently lit his focused, serene profile. That transcendent beauty truly seemed otherworldly. He was so incredibly handsome. Thinking that this was my betrothed made me realize this wasn't a marriage decree. It was a royal reward. I was momentarily dazzled, probably stupefied by his beauty. When the ninth prince offered the sliced rabbit meat, I instinctively leaned forward and ate directly from his hand. My tongue accidentally brushed his fingers. I froze. The ninth prince froze too. When I came to my senses, my face flamed red. The ninth prince looked at me while I avoided his gaze. He suddenly smiled. "Why did you stop eating? Or perhaps you find me more appetizing than food." Shameless. Don't think I couldn't tell he was complimenting his own delicious appearance. I immediately widened my eyes. Eat. Why wouldn't I eat? I grabbed several pieces of rabbit meat and stuffed them in my mouth. I didn't stop until my stomach was completely round. The ninth prince leaned closer, blinking gently as he drew another handkerchief from his robes. I was curious. Exactly how many handkerchiefs did he carry? The ninth prince gazed at me adoringly, laughing softly as he raised his sleeve to wipe the corner of my mouth. I startled, realizing he was cleaning my face. I blushed. "Thank you, Your Highness, Adrian, Ad." We agreed. "Call me Adrian in private." "Oh right, Adrian." Ninth prince's health hadn't fully recovered. Shortly after eating, he leaned against the cave wall by the fire and closed his eyes to rest. Even near the fire, he still wrapped his clothes tightly around himself. We had worn light riding clothes for today's hunt. In such cold, snowy weather, his constitution couldn't withstand it. I moved closer and touched his hand. Indeed, it was cold. I pressed against him, embracing his lean waist. This man looked delicate but actually had abs. The ninth prince seemed to sense something and opened his eyes. The firelight reflected in his dark eyes, making them unreadable. "Ember," he asked softly, as if still drowsy. I lifted his hand and guided it around my back. Then I adjusted to the most comfortable position, curling up in his arms like a kitten. I am warming Adrian up. The ninth prince seemed to catch his breath. His body felt warmer than before. With his palm pressed against my waist, heat penetrated through the fabric, gradually rising. Since he didn't speak, I assumed he had fallen asleep again. I looked up to check on him and met his intense gaze, his ears slightly red. I was delighted. His color looked much better. I hugged him tighter, trying to transfer more of my warmth to him. "Adrian, are you feeling warmer now?" The ninth prince swallowed, then rested his head against my neck. His slightly hoarse voice wrapped in warm breath. "Yes." His breath and body heat enveloped me completely, making me drowsy until I drifted into sleep. I slept dreamlessly through the night. Upon waking, we were still embracing. I gently looked up at the ninth prince. He happened to be looking down at me, but I noticed faint shadows under his eyes. Did you sleep poorly? Had my snoring or teeth grinding kept him awake? The ninth prince's lips curved. I slept very well and felt very happy. His burning gaze was completely unguarded, making my cheeks heat up. I laughed awkwardly and quickly got up to check outside the cave. If I kept holding him, I might spontaneously combust. Looking outside, I discovered people approaching. Adrian, someone's coming. Besides my brother, the approaching party included someone I never expected, Princess Dawn. Seeing the ninth prince and me alive, Princess Dawn visibly relaxed. But her words came out as, "Oh, you are still breathing." Princess Dawn was gold and jade precious, yet today she had personally come to this dangerous place for rescue efforts. Such consideration filled me with gratitude. I curtsied and sincerely thanked her. "By your highness's grace, thank you, princess." Princess Dawn waved her hand proudly. "Humph, I came to rescue ninth brother, not you." The ninth prince coughed lightly and smiled as he thanked Princess Dawn. "Thank you, Dawn." Hearing his cough, my heart tightened with worry. "Princess, His Highness caught a slight chill. We need to summon a physician immediately." Princess Dawn's expression grew complex as she glanced at me. "I brought the Princess Mansion's physician. Let them examine ninth brother." I was puzzled. While the Princess Mansion's doctors were certainly competent, why not use imperial physicians? Edgar stepped forward to explain. "The crown prince fell from his horse yesterday and injured his head. All palace physicians are currently attending him at the Eastern Palace." I frowned slightly. Worried about the crown prince, the ninth prince whispered in my ear. "No, I think he needs more practice, always causing trouble." I whispered back equally quietly. After all, Princess Dawn and the crown prince were siblings. If she heard me criticizing him, she might attack me on the spot. The ninth prince straightened, the disappointment in his eyes melting away like ice. His brow smoothing as he gained a more radiant beauty. Had he just been jealous? I forgot to look away in time. Edgar cleared his throat meaningfully. I snapped back to attention and awkwardly studied my fingernails. I knew it. Beauty was dangerous. Princess Dawn's gossipy eyes moved back and forth between us, her face suddenly showing knowing understanding. Ninth brother and ninth sister-in-law have such deep affection. I preferred her wild and unruly version. The ninth prince chuckled and took my hand. I followed obediently behind him. 3 days later, the crown prince awakened. I never expected him to appear in my courtyard. Ruby blocked his path. "Crown prince, you and Miss Sophia are engaged, and my miss is betrothed to the ninth prince. Your presence here might damage her reputation." The crown prince's gaze could have killed. "Move aside. I must see Ember. Shameless dog, Miss doesn't love you anymore, but now you are pursuing her. Are you a masochist?" Though Ruby was frightened, she stood firm before the crown prince. The crown prince's face darkened with anger. "If you don't want me to kill you, get out of my way." I emerged from my room and positioned myself in front of Ruby. I gestured for Ruby to remain silent. I had never seen the crown prince like this. Any further provocation might genuinely result in Ruby's death. "Ruby, you may withdraw." "Yes, miss." "Himph. Dog prince, taking your anger out on me." Fenty, if this were modern times, you feudal remnant would be cancelled. Fenty were the loudest one criticizing Miss before. Q been Miss. Good horses don't eat yesterday's grass. Don't be deceived by rotten weeds. Qt compared to him, the ninth prince is much more adorable. Qt, oh, right. I should quickly have 15 fetch the ninth prince. Crown prince. How may I serve you? I kept my head lowered throughout. Seeing his silence, I turned to leave. Crown Prince, if there is nothing else, I'll take my leave. Prince Adrian's slender fingers gripped my sleeve tightly, refusing to let go. He looked at me with unprecedented humility. Won't you even look at me now? Seeing me raise my eyes to meet his gaze held a trace of hope, joy flickering in their depths. I was somewhat surprised. I had never seen him like this. In my memory, he was always cold toward me, taking advantage of my affection to treat me with constant indifference. In the past, I would certainly have softened. But not this time. Remembering Ruby's warning about marrying the Crown Prince, leading to the destruction of the Ashford clan, and thinking of the 9th Prince's affectionate eyes and his endearing jealous tears, I quickly pulled my sleeve from his grasp and said sternly, "Crown Prince, please conduct yourself properly. I am engaged to the 9th Prince. I don't want him to misunderstand. Ember, I had a dream where you asked Father Emperor for our marriage, where you became my crown princess, then my empress after I ascended the throne, and then..." The crown prince seemed to recall something, his body swaying as if he might collapse, unable to continue. I knew what came next in that dream. Him destroying the Ashford clan. The crown prince wanted to continue speaking when the 9th prince appeared from nowhere, standing between the crown prince and me, separating us. Relief flooded through me. The 9th prince lifted his chin slightly and addressed the crown prince. "Crown Prince, your betrothed is waiting behind you. Please keep your distance from my princess." Sophia stood some distance away. Who knew how long she had been there? Her face was deathly pale, yet she forced a proper smile. "Crown Prince, I was looking everywhere for you." The Crown Prince looked at me with complex emotions before turning away coldly. "What do you need?" Such a perfect match seemed less than beautiful without my interference. But none of this concerned me anymore. Why does that dog prince have brain damage? Asterisk exactly. Fun now thinking the white moonlight is mosquito blood while Miss is the red rose. Asterisk test. What a scumbag. Asterisk the 9th prince looked at me seriously. "Ember, don't worry. The things Ruby mentioned will never happen. I'll always protect you and the entire Ashford clan." In a flash, I understood. You can hear Ruby's thoughts too. Ruby was horrified, asking weakly, You both heard everything." Yes, Ruby's legs gave out. If 15 hadn't caught her, she would have collapsed. "Aha, I don't want to live anymore." Asterisk whether people transmigrate into books. I transmigrate into books. But why isn't my golden finger hearing others' thoughts? Why is it others hearing my thoughts? Asterisk tenty mishearing is fine. But why did the scheming 9th prince hear everything? He won't eliminate me, will he? Asterisk the 9th prince protested pitifully. "Ruby, I've always been kind. Do you have some misunderstanding about me?" Aha, he really heard it. Asterisk I am fainting. Asterisk with that, Ruby went limp in 15's arms, whether truly or falsely unconscious. I suspected she was taking advantage to get close to 15. Unaware of the situation, panicked at Ruby's sudden collapse. His face went white with worry. "Ruby, what is wrong?" I couldn't bear to watch, afraid I'd burst out laughing. 15, take Ruby and find a doctor. "Thank you, miss." I turned to glare at the 9th prince. "Don't scare her. You are only protecting her. You don't care about me at all." The 9th prince's eyes reddened as he turned away. I also wanted to faint. I quickly grabbed his arm, shaking it. "I do care. You occupy my entire heart, really. More real than pearls." The 9th prince broke into a smile, adding, "Not sincere enough." I thought for a moment. Moving closer, I stood on tiptoes, circled his neck, and lightly kissed his soft lips. "Is this sincere enough?" The 9th prince's eyes lit up, his hand settling on my waist. Lashes trembling, breathing heavy, voice deep. "Not enough. He pulled me close, our bodies pressed together. Lowering his head, he kissed my lips, using his tongue to part my teeth. The ninth prince's eyes swirled with dark currents, starting gently but growing increasingly fierce. Almost frantically kissing my lips, he kissed me until my body went soft, and though I wanted to push him away, I couldn't, surrendering to his embrace. Ember, I want to marry you immediately. I can't wait anymore. I blushed, responding softly. I hadn't expected his immediately to be quite so immediate. Just 3 days later, on our wedding night, I couldn't help echoing Ruby's complaints. Sebastian Adrian, you really are scheming. All my schemes are devoted to my wife. In the darkness, his gaze burned as he looked at me. One spring night is worth 1,000 gold pieces. Wife, let's not waste this beautiful spring evening. The ninth prince lifted me toward the bed. Behind warm curtains, we spent our spring night together. That is the story for today. Hope you enjoyed this incredible tale. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe for more captivating stories like this, and don't forget to like and share this video. Thank you for being here. See you next time.